Hi everyone. Welcome to another ART363B tutorial. This is going to be for Adobe Illustrator, and today we're going to be testing Pathfinder. So, just to kind of get started, feel free to download the file on Canvas again. Otherwise, like at any time of the video, if you want to pause or rewind, feel free to do so. But other than that, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, like go ahead and download your file. And my file is going to be over here. So I already downloaded mine. And for this assignment, all I want y'all to do is to just test out each of these Pathfinder operations. So, excuse me. So what are Pathfinder operations, right? So first and foremost, let's go ahead and go to Windows, and then let's go to Pathfinder. There we go, Pathfinder. Or you can remember Shift Control F9. Now, Pathfinder is actually one of my favorite tools. Now, previously, when we were creating work, we have been using the pen tool, right? So if I wanted to do like a silhouette of like a face, I would have to draw out using the pen tool what that would look like. But now with the Pathfinder tool allows me to utilize, and this isn't going to look like completely the same, but just to kind of give you all like a very, very quick idea. If I am having a little bit of trouble myself on doing everything kind of in one big piece, right? I can create separate pieces like this, select them, and use the Pathfinder tool to basically modify them. So in this case, I united them into one shape, right? So Pathfinder can be a very, very powerful tool. So just to kind of show you all another one over here, let's just say I wanted like an eyeball, right? Kind of like that. And I wanted it to be hollow. I could do something kind of like this, and now I have a hollow hole inside of this area. So it's a very powerful tool. But how does each of them work, right? So just to kind of like start off, each one of these are correlated to a different Pathfinder setting. Now, we're just going to test how each of them work. And just in case you mess up, there are extra circles and squares over here. Now, the first one I want to start with is Unite. Unite, when you select two shapes, is the very top left one over here. And each of these icons kind of already show you what Pathfinder operation it's going to use. So Unite is going to basically unite your shapes together. It will choose your overlapping shapes, color and stroke color, and apply it onto the underlapping shapes. But go ahead and try that out, and you're more than welcome. We'll just like copy and paste a couple of these. If you wanted to play around with it even more, you could even unite more things on top to kind of see how that looks. The second one is going to be minus front. Minus front will take your overlapping shapes and it will erase it into the underlapping. So kind of like this. And it can be a very useful tool because again, if you wanted to create, we just we just grab we use our eyedropper here. So I'm gonna use what is it, eyedropper, and just click on this, grab that color. So if I select these and I press minus front again, you see it'll make a hole. So it could be a very great way to carve shapes and negative space into shapes, right? And then over here on the bottom right, just to go over this, you have minus back, which is the exact opposite. So take the back shape and minus it into the front shape. Intersect is kind of interesting. So let's just say you only want to keep this little area that's intersecting between the two shapes. If you select these two shapes here, and then you press intersect, it'll just leave that intersected part. So it can be really great for using certain overlapping shapes and figuring out what's supposed to be underneath, in between them, right? Exclude will do the complete opposite. And if you right click and you ungroup it, you can actually ungroup these into two separate shapes. Again, a quick reminder, feel free to pause or rewind the video if you are confused about anything. Otherwise, like I would just like test each one of them out, and that's kind of all you need to do for this assignment. Okay, so divide is a really cool one. So for divide, it will take all of your intersecting parts and turn them into their own shapes. And this is actually one of my favorite ones to use because you can do a lot of cool things with it. For example, if I take a line and I cut through here and I press divide, then it will divide it into that shape. If I take a pen tool and I want to add a curve over here, go ahead and get rid of the fill. I can divide and it'll divide that shape too. So it can be a very quick way to create different sections that you want to use if you have really, really strong line work on top. Now, the only thing I would just be careful of is if you have really thick line work like I do, sometimes this can seem like it's intersecting. But one thing you have to make sure is you always want to make sure that your paths are overlapping and intersecting the other paths kind of like this. Because if you have something that's kind of like this, and we can leave this side like intersected. You can see this side isn't. It might make a line, yeah, but you can see it doesn't go all the way through. So that can cause a little bit of like issues sometimes. Just be kind of careful about that. You always want the line to go all the way through if you want to make a true incision. The next one is going to be trim. Trim is really useful. Basically, if you press trim, it's going to get rid of your line work at first. So you might have to add that back. But if you ungroup it, it basically deletes all the underlapping parts without getting rid of the overlapping parts. So the yellow circle stays, but everything underneath it goes away. Merge is also really useful. Upon like first like try, you're not going to see any difference between trim and merge. But what makes merge really interesting is if you have two shapes that are the same color, it'll merge those parts together, but leave the other shapes unmerged. And it will still apply the trim effect too. So I believe these will be their own shape when we pull them apart. Yeah, there we go, their own shapes. You see, there's no underlapping shapes. Crop. So for crop, it'll kind of do what exclude does, but it leaves like some line work. You can like select this and you can see there's line work. I don't really use this one too much. So yeah, if you need it, I guess it keeps some of the line work of the outer parts while only keeping the intersected parts. Whereas outline is going to basically do the same thing as divide, but it'll change everything into an outline. Just add a little bit of thickness here. So you see, we can ungroup these and it'll basically just all be their own individual paths. But that's basically it, y'all. I just want y'all to test out each one of these once. So as long as you played around with them and you showed it in here, that's all I'm looking for. Other than that, don't forget to save this as a AI and a JPEG. So just make sure to see underscore pack underscore. And then over here we have oops, the JPEG. Keep it at medium, 72 DPI. That's basically it. If y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can set an appointment and talk about these. Otherwise, feel free to let me know during a lab time and I can walk over or you can come over to my desk. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of the day and I hope y'all enjoyed this video.